I'm going to show you how to take this box on stilts and turn it into something you could quite happily use as a base. Big boxy bases may be a builder's bane, but by busting out these tips, you can take this building and make it work for you. It doesn't really matter what size of building you make for yourself, but the one you see here has inner measurements of 12 blocks on each horizontal axis and is 5 blocks tall. I chose this because it gives us clearance around even the largest block I might use inside, and even numbers make it harder to make things symmetrical, and symmetry can make things look kinda bland. The easiest thing you can do when building your box is to add depth. With just a little variation in the depth of a surface, you can have something that already starts to look a little more interesting. So when putting down large surfaces, consider using the half light armor block, as this can help add depth to your build. Making the upper surface flush with the block grid when putting down a floor gives you something to build on and makes the base a little more interesting to look at from below. You can do this with your walls too, but remember that your walls will be half as resistant as a result, so consider what else you do to attain depth when you're likely to get attacked. Another thing that can contribute to the boxiness of your build is having long, uninterrupted lines. If you can find a way to break up a solid line as you're building it, do it. Here you can see that I'm doing that by letting the wall flow into the upper frame. This helps hide the line there and also helps reduce the flatness of the wall. Later on I also changed the corner columns to a different block on the outer corners, just to break up the silhouette a little. My next suggestion is really counterintuitive, but it also makes complete sense. A great way of disguising a box is with more boxes. I'm swapping out one of the corners here with a tower, which is really just a thin, tall box. I'm switching up a little though, as variety in your building language can help define function and give the eyes something else to see. With rounded corners, this tower makes a perfect spot for some wind turbines, but maybe your tower is a control tower or a missile silo. Remembering to add depth, I'm actually adding back some of the long lines to this tower, which works to emphasise the height of the tower, especially when it's built all the way down to the ground. With the wind turbines and turret atop it, the tower quickly becomes something interesting to look at, and that's because it has movement. The constant movement of the turbines and the twitching of the turret breathes some life into the base. And we can add a little more with one simple trick, or even just a block or two if you have the right DLC. We're going to add some smoke to the build to make it look like it's doing something. The exhaust pipe from the Wasteland DLC is the option that gives you the most control over your smoke, giving you options for the particles that get emitted and the ability to control them through buttons and scripts. Or if you've not got that DLC, you can always just shoot up a hydrogen thruster to cause it to burst into flames. Take that, thruster, I hate you! Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. One thing that you should definitely take into consideration is the tiny details. Sure, you can just slap on an offset door to the wall, and it'll probably look okay, but what if you brought the wall out a little bit to strengthen the space around the door? Already, this door stands out, adding a little depth, breaking up the lines and surfaces that were there before. When building out the platform in front of it, rather than using full blocks, I'm using armour slopes. These will give a flow toward a support structure, and give a little headroom to the stairs. Add in a few rails to help with health and safety, and you've got a believable entryway. By keeping just these few thoughts in mind as we continue to build out the rest of the base, we can make any box look interesting. For example, we can run some conveyors down to the ice here. They're a great place to put things too, like a turret to defend your base with, or a vent to collect air. Maybe you want a huge window to keep an eye on the outside with. They're great for giving a sense of depth too when you build inside. You can make a landing platform for your ships as well. Just remember to follow any established design language you've come up with, and don't be afraid to do something new. With the shape of your box established and improved, you're ready to paint it, and this video right here will show you a great way to start on that, or maybe you want to share your own advice in the comments below.